Thanks for coming, Jennifer, and standing here and just having a quick conversation with me. Trying to get some information out to people that may come to our Indigo Retreat. So
Yes.
I thought, well, why don't you talk a little bit about how you got interested in indigo?
Sure, I would love to. I've never really had dyed anything, and I read, just walking by this cheesy-looking craft magazine, and it had an article about Denise Lambert, I guess because she's French, who doesn't dye with indigo at all. She dyes with woad, which is really similar to indigo, and in French it's called pastel.
Okay.
She and her husband were really obsessed. They started a business. They opened up this little place in the south of France, which was
he an artisan?
I don't think so. I think he might be like a chemist or something. I made that up, but I think he is.
Okay.
Science-y. And they became really obsessed, especially him. So they dye fibers. They don't do shibori stuff. They do straight out threads.
So they just dye the fibers for weaving.
Right, and they weave, but they also have dyed some wood. Like they've got these really antique, cool shutters on their building, and they're blue because they dyed them blue because woad will get in there.
Right,
it's pretty cool.
Right.
So I just became obsessed. Like I thought that was the coolest sounding thing ever.
So do you think it was just the color that interests you?
No, my favorite color was green, up until I started dyeing with blue. No, I think it was the process.
You think it was the process?
It's pretty wackadoodle. I mean, it's really cool.
So how did you get from woad to indigo?
A friend of mine talked me out of woad because woad is really hard to find and really expensive and really hard to dye with.
Okay.
And indigo is less so. You have more of the blue stuff in the indigo plant versus the woad plant.
I see.
And it's easier to get out.
Okay. And then what was your first what was your first dyeing session like? Did you have a big learning curve or
Huge.
Okay.
Yes, we did. So yeah, I got the kit that comes from Dharma Trading Company, which is actually really weak. They don't really recommend you use a lot of indigo, so it was a very light blue. We didn't know what we were doing. We were dyeing a bunch of different stuff. Some of it's got to be natural fibers, but we didn't know, so we're trying all kinds of stuff, and we just ended up with a lot of very light stuff. And then we washed it right away, which I don't do anymore now. I wait at least 24 hours.
And let the dye set.
Let it set, because of the process of it. You have to, so you put it in the vat, and the vat isn't, how it always makes blue. The vat is not blue. It's like a yellow-green.
Right.
So you put the fabric in there, and then when you pull it out, you watch it change from yellow to blue, which is freaky awesome. It's really magical.
And what color green is it? What
it's like
shade
an
of green?
acidy green. It's like Mountain Dew.
And you can watch it change, right?
Totally.
While it's hanging, just drying, and it changes, and it just seems like, how did that turn blue?
It doesn't make any sense. You're like, what? That's crazy. Like it shouldn't be happening, but it looks so cool. And then the blue, of course.
Right.
It's awesome.
So tell me a little bit more about other kinds of crafts and making that you've done.
Sure. Well, what's funny is like I grew up, my mother hated crafty things. We never did any crafty things. She didn't have the patience. And I got into theater, so I wasn't really taking art classes. And then I got out of theater because I had made people. And you can't really do both well.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
Yeah. So then when my kids were little and I was feeling really craving something creative to do, I started making jewelry. And I immediately kind of figured out what I liked, which surprised me because I didn't have any training
and
or
was
experience.
It just trial and error? You just gravitated towards certain things?
Yeah, but I also just knew what I wanted it to look like. Like I kind of knew I should play with this and it should look like that. And it was just really satisfying. And it's small, like you can carry it with you.
You can carry it with you everywhere. Okay.
And it really opened up for me that I had a need to make stuff, which I didn't really realize before.
Right.
And I'm not a baker. I am not a cook. I just really need to make stuff.
Right.
And so I really started branching out. I actually got into knitting in a huge, obsessive way. But then as soon as I sewed something and it took 20 minutes to make a scarf, I totally got over knitting. Because I'm just generally lazy.
So you have to make stuff, so it
has to be fun.
It has to be fun, and that's what really motivates you to do it.
Yeah, I don't need to be perfect. I like to make mistakes, and freeing yourself up by making mistakes on purpose makes it a lot easier to make things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then talk to me a little bit about how you got an idea for doing a retreat revolving around indigo.
It's completely your fault.
I don't think so. I think
it is.
I think it was mostly your idea.
No, I've never been on a retreat before I moved here. Right. And you invited me to the retreat that you throw every year. And it's seriously just a bunch of friends who get together, make good food, drink some good wine, and make things. And it's
make things and
like,
talk.
And talk.
Yeah.
It's like the highlight of my year. So
Yeah.
I don't think I would have thought of having a retreat if it hadn't been for the retreat that you do. So,
well, that's awesome. But
Yeah.
I think from that experience, knowing that you can get together and do a craft activity and share that, and really that can last a whole weekend and people can really enjoy that is wonderful. So
yes, I think so too.
Yeah,
because I love doing that. So I teach a lot of indigo classes, and I started teaching it almost right away, because I learn things by thinking about telling people other people how to do it.
Right.
So, and I think I can teach things I'm enthusiastic about. I don't need to know a lot about them necessarily, especially creative things, I think.
Right.
So,
well, and I think the fact that you take the point of view that people should experiment and try things, it all doesn't have to come out perfect, and we're not all doing the same project anyway.
Right.
So however it turns out really doesn't matter. It's just a matter of doing it.
Right.
Rather than not doing it and worrying about the result. And you can see, I mean, you had at the Mad City Bazaar this weekend, you had a lot of people come out and just see your vats and get really
dip their hands in there and get filthy, dirty, and stinky, and have so much fun.
Yeah, that's right. So
and even more than not feeling bad if it's not perfect, trying to make it imperfect.
Right.
Really. Makes things easier.
So that's something that anyone who's interested in coming to the retreat should know, that it's not really it's not necessary to come there to produce a particular result. That mainly
it's best to come without the expectation.
Come without expectation and be surprised by things. That I think is what we're going for. So
it's way more fun that way.
It's
all fun. It's all about process. They always talk about like, oh, it's all about process, but that really means just messing around and not worrying about what you end up with.
Right.
Which with indigo is really easy, because it always looks pretty.
It always looks pretty. And the retreat space will allow us just to have the vats out. We'll have a lot of dyeing time.
A lot of free
time, and people can kind of go in and out of it. So it'll just be a very open experience for people. Of course, followed by food and wine.
So much good food.
Yeah, so much good food.
Talk about at least one thing you're going to make, because you're such an amazing cook.
Well, one thing I am going to make, I'm going to focus on a lot of fresh, locally sourced produce. So I'm going to be doing one of my favorite salads, which is a mango avocado salad with a vinaigrette dressing that's done with almond oil.
I'm getting hungry.
And herbs. It's a great salad, especially in the hot weather towards the end of the year. So we'll have, evenings where we'll have some hors d'oeuvres, a cocktail hour. I'm still working on trying to come up with a blue cocktail that we have, and some pretty glasses. So I'm still strategizing that. But that's one of the dishes we'll do. And so during the cocktail hour, we'll have a lot of little small bites that people can nibble on. And then,
awesome.
We'll have a larger dinner. And, as we said on the webpage, if you are vegetarian or you have other diet sensitivities.
Because I'm gluten-free.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll have that available. And if you don't want to eat meat, it'll be easy to avoid it. So
and if you want to eat meat,
there'll be plenty there. Great. Okay, well, we'll wrap it up for now.
Okay.
Thank you.
That was fun.
Okay.